What up, everybody? Today, we're going to talk about cannabis license application templates. Do they work? What are they? How can you use application templates to get your cannabis license? We're going to be speaking with Juliana Whitney of Leaf Sheets, and she has some other businesses. And then, of course, Miggy's going to be joining us on another triumphant episode of Cannabis Legalization News, which, of course, the industry is for 21 plus only. Welcome, everybody.
Hi.
Templates.
Yeah, we'll talk about those. Leaf Sheets, for example. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing?
Myself and what I'm doing. I am Juliana Whitney, based in Vegas. I've been in the cannabis industry since 2015. I started when it was legal medicinally in Vegas, and I started at the front desk of a dispensary, started consulting 2016, have been working with investors in limited licensing states only, helping them get into the industry, set up their companies, expand their companies. And then after, all the years, got my MBA, have had all these conversations with a lot of entrepreneurs who, they'll shop around consultants and then realize that the price range is far beyond what they anticipated. And that's really what brought us to develop Leaf Sheets in addition to CannStrategy. And now I'm here with you guys and also sitting in New York, which is a lot of fun.
Right on.
Yeah, I've not been able to make it to New York, but if I cross my fingers and hope a lot, the Albany office will be opening this week. And so I'm kind of stoked on that. But I have to make sure that the zip code that we have is the right zip code, because if we put the wrong zip code in there, those New Yorkers will see it and be like, I don't want to deal with those people.
Yeah.
But, so are you in the city or are you in upstate?
I'm in the city. I'm actually barely in the city. So we're up in Washington Heights. And so it's like super north.
But you're just there temporary, not really on business though, right? Or are you doing business as well?
I'm doing business as well, but I didn't come. The primary reason I came is because my parents bought a place up here because they both just retired. They're going to do 50-50 and I'm a great daughter. So I came to help them set it up.
Where's the other 50? Because it's like I'm trying to get out of Illinois for the winter because you don't need it.
Yes.
But where's their 50? And I'm assuming that means they're snowbirding.
Their 50 is in Vegas.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So it just happened to be a great coincidence that you're out there and like they happen to be. Wasn't there a recent event out there? I believe. Tom, didn't they do something recently out there, like in a convention or some shit? I don't know.
There was a big New Jersey one.
Oh, was there? Yeah, okay. That's right, because Jersey just legalized it. Yeah, so you just right across the street. So pretty much.
Yeah, just across the street.
So can you tell us about Leaf Sheets, though? What is the purpose? What do you guys do?
Leaf Sheets I call it a cannabis business support platform. And my co-founder, Nick, and we built it over the past 2 years together. And we figured, okay, we'll build it, prove the concept, and then do a raise and build out the rest of it. So where we got it to as of now, it's essentially step one in getting into the industry, which is all your SOPs, all your documentation that you need, let's say for your application or even just to get approved to open when you do your, inspections and they go through everything. But right now it's in a kind of a DIY model. So it's for the entrepreneurs that really don't have the, let's say 100K, 250K, whatever, for the consultants, but they have some time and they're ambitious and they can put some, brain work into it. It gives them like 80% of the way there. And then we also created do-it-yourself guides for every sheet, because like the biggest thing that I saw with templates is people failing. I had law firms sending like applicants they had who'd used templates who failed and had 10 days to fix their thing, and then they had to pay me a bunch of money to fix it. So like, okay, we have to teach people what to do with these things. You can't just give them like fill in the blanks and send them on their way. So that's what it is.
Well, because that's kind of what Tom's been doing for years now. He's been creating these different platforms, and then I think that's kind of the thing is like I'm 100% American. Like I just want to fill some paperwork, sign my signature, and call it good. Like I don't want to actually work.
But wait a minute. we have to be very clear about the entrepreneurship in the cannabis industry. You are opening a bank and or a casino. And so like, especially until safe banking has passed or limited licenses are no longer a thing, you are creating through limiting licenses and ensuring that you have to deal in cash, a concentration of both money, and that's in paper form, and also product that's in flower form. And so there's theft risk twice, and that's why all those pot shops get robbed in Washington State, man. And like, so Miggy will be reporting week after week.
Just yesterday.
Just yesterday,
right down the street from me over here, they used a goddamn forklift to bust open the gun. All they took was $1,000 and $1,000 of product, like the shittiest criminals.
Wow.
Serious.
And caused like $10,000 in damage.
Oh my God. They broke the whole front wall. It was so sad. It's like, because they smart pot shops here will secure their shit at night, and everything's like you're not getting anything. They got $100 and like $1,000 worth of products. The article said so. Yeah. And then last month we had a loss of life. It's sad and unfortunate how this shit happens constantly. You know, Safe Banking Act, hello, but
well, and then don't chintz on your dispensary security system. Don't. Like, and especially like if you're in a limited market state, and I have no idea how New Jersey or New York's going to play out. It looks like New Jersey's more like Michigan. So I still wouldn't chintz on a security system in a Michigan dispensary because, dude, people will try to rob you. And so they get shocked at the sticker shock is real when they're building a dispensary about the vaults and then the security system and then the access control doors and the fire resistant doors and all these other things. And they're like, why'd you put this in my application? I'm like, first, it was required. Second, we wanted to go above and beyond what the requirements were so you could win.
Yes.
Didn't you? Exactly. And then third, didn't you read your own application? This is your business. What do you want me to take your profits too, please? You know,
which is they never do. I've never had a single client actually read the application at CannStrategy. I've never have. Do your people read their application?
Sometimes, but I haven't had them win. Well, that's not true. One of them won, but again, they had a perfect application. They have operations out of Washington State. They read it. They fly spec'd my work. They sent it to some other lawyer who sent it back to me, and they spent the money because they have 4 other dispensaries in Washington State. They know what's involved in this.
They understood.
They absolutely did. But the only reason they really won was because it was a lottery and they got lucky.
Yeah. So
allegedly, it's an alleged lottery they had.
Allegedly, it's a lottery.
They weren't just trying to buy me off so I wouldn't sue the state and use this as a platform to explain how I was suing the state.
How many states have you has your product been through there, Juliana?
Leaf sheets?
Yeah. Like how many people have you gone through to this process? Because we only have how many legal states now, recreational?
18,
19, somewhere in there.
Do you cover just recreational, or you look at the medical side too? Because people do weird stuff like Chicago or Illinois, which they actually create a structured program for it. Whereas here in Washington State, you just had to say, I need a script and all right, I'm open for business. I'm doing this. That's all it is.
Yeah. So Leaf Sheets is applicable currently in really wherever you're at, as long as you can go through the DIY guides to customize your documents. So it's not just a download it and turn it in kind of thing. It's like a download it, here's your guide, and here's how to adjust it for your business specifically, and then whatever market you're operating in. And so if you were to, let's say, buy a sheet, there's parts of it where the instructions will tell you, okay, if you're in an adult use market, then do it this way. And if you're in a medicinal market, then look for these things, like, change the age, the quantities, the rules and stuff like that.
Right. But if we're going to go over a dissection of a cannabis application, and you're going to look from one state to another state, you're going to see more granularity or less, but you're going to see the same stuff. So it's going to be the same guts. But then if we're in New Mexico, they just don't care about your waste management plan or your odor mitigation plan. At least they don't at the state level when they're handing out the license yet say they care about that. We'll see what happens in the future. But then if you're in a state like, Nevada or Illinois or New Jersey, even New Jersey had hundreds of pages of SOPs you have to draft for your conditional and your conversion. We don't know New York, but I'm assuming comprehensive. So do you have specific leaf sheets that match the specific aspects Well, not necessarily states. Like, Illinois' application was 20 exhibits for the dispensary.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
do you have like inventory control plan? Do you
Yeah.
have, that type of stuff? What types of leaf sheets do you offer?
Okay. Yeah. So the leaf sheets are. Can you hear the sirens?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
I wasn't sure if it was you or me though, so I'm like,
yeah, let's go night driving. Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
I live in the city too,
no,
so
it's
I'm just
all
like,
right.
shit, what the hell's going on again? Goddamn it!
But then whenever we have somebody on from India, they always have those real loud horns that you have in traffic, like just and always blares. And so I'm like, so you're in the garden view of Calcutta, so there's just nonstop traffic outside, and this is why. Okay, that was but he was a great guest on the Indian status of their activism. I can't remember his name. Do you remember his name?
I thought it was Sunny. No, Sue. It was like a female name, but
oh yeah, it might have been Sunny, but it was like Vikram or something. So we have to check back in India because this great Indian activist, and then of course traffic jams nonstop throwing the whole interview.
Right. Yeah.
Really made it.
I'm like, always the sirens in the city.
Yeah.
So yeah, to answer your question, with the way we developed it is it's for every section. So I've done with CannStrategy, I do competitive license applications only in limited licensing states. So we have one in Ohio, Nevada, Illinois, and basically the sections that I saw overlapped in all three of those markets, and then other markets I've read the regulations for, which is basically every limited licensing state. So you can buy them individually. One thing we did that I thought was important is you don't have to buy the whole deck. Like, I want it to create as much autonomy for these groups, these entrepreneurs as possible. So if you just need your staffing and training plan, you just need waste management, emergency response, inventory control, security, whatever it is, you just buy the ones you need. And if you need them all, you can buy them all. So they're all on there.
Nice.
Do you have any breakages then? Because like a lot of the plans that I would see would create roles and people who are in charge of particular things that are related to compliance. So let's say we have your plan and then like somebody else's security plan, and they would they break? See, that's one of the things that I'm always kind of like, I'll tell people like templates are great. They will save you some time.
So much time.
You just can't take the template, slap your name on it and apply and think you're going to win.
You cannot do that.
And so they don't get it though. And so they might get a template from here, here, and here. And I'm like, okay, well, this one said you're going to have this person in a role. And that one said you have this other person in a role. And this one didn't mention either of those. And so, those types of cohesion aspects can be really, really tricky in the competitive states.
That's a great point. So one thing that we have in there is, because I know even client to client, they'll title roles differently, and they'll give different responsibilities to different people. One thing we have in the sheets is whenever there is a role that is mentioned, the DIY guide will say like, okay, who's the person that will do XYZ and insert that title. And throughout the document, it's not just blanks, it's actually codes. So we'll have a search, a list that says search these. And then for each code, it'll say, okay, wherever you find this code, do replace all with this title or with this information or whatever else. So as long as they file or like follow the DIY, it ideally would line up with their other template, as long as they actually read the other template and knew what that one said. But the best thing would be to just, obviously use Leaf Sheets templates.
Well, like, so the type of things, because I work in quality assurance, and checklists are very important. I mean, essentially is what a template is, right? It's a checklist that somebody else has gone through the law and said, okay, this is what's the important part out of this paragraph, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And my question is, because I know Tom, and I've given him a hard time about it too, because like when people pay him because he's a lawyer, they're paying for him to be on the new law every other whatever they update it. Yeah. So you're there too, then, right? You're updating according to new laws, new whatever add additions or requirements they have.
Well, as CannStrategy, yes, I do that. As Leaf Sheets, we're hiring. So if you go onto the site, there's a part that's called facts, and that part has like the most simple of answers that people have, like about regulation. So even if it's what's the tax rate, stuff like that. For that, we're hiring a whole person.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
It's hard. It's a whole job.
Well, because your business degree, I find that fascinating because you started off as somebody a ground floor person in the
Yeah.
cannabis industry, and
I did.
I always, when it came to degrees, I always thought the one I'd be searching for would be like an electronics degree, right?
Okay.
Electric, whatever, and thought that'd be the big money one. But then at one time, I worked for Raytheon, and a woman in charge of Raytheon just had a business degree. Like she went from a secretary to business associate, and blew my mind because she was making 7 figures, but like she had no electronics background. Like, but so your understanding is more the business essentials, right? The operations, and because that's what I've been working as manufacturing for 15, 20 years now. So
Wow.
like, I understand the operations on that level as a technician and an operator, but you're the one creating the actual SOPs and procedures going through what the requirements, right? Because are you doing like data analytics between this two when you're doing the business stuff? You're going through like headset and stuff?
Yes, with yes. With leaf sheets, it's not integrated there yet, or
Yeah.
like really applicable with leaf sheets yet. But with CannStrategy, yes. So since I focus so much on the business strategy piece of things, we do the licensing, and then the kind of the operations, business strategy, and development is the super fun part. And in that, we use data analytics and stuff and help people kind of create how they want to go about things.
Yeah, modeling.
Yeah.
Modeling is so much fun. And then I got to see a model from, I don't think we've had Green Rush. No. And by models, I mean spreadsheets. A book of them that have assumptions that interfere with other spreadsheets.
You're like, to be
people
clear.
Then will like, and like your clients will be spending the money in that model. Like it's like they're going to make it no matter what. And you're like, no, this is a model. There's assumptions involved in this. This could all be dreck, but here's how it works. And I've seen some of those now from various places, and I'm like, they charge $7,000 for this. It's great. It's a great industry. Yeah,
it is. But yeah, that's a great point though, because I think that I'm sure you face this, right? Every client is approached by every service provider in the world, it feels like, and everyone's trying to charge the most, and everyone thinks their service is the absolute most valuable, and so then even clients with money, it becomes insane. It becomes insane. It's like, you guys, even if I had $1 million cash to spend, you all are trying to charge me basically like all of it. Everyone thinks they deserve all of it.
Right. I had to talk a guy down from generational wealth in Mississippi today. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm sorry that consultant told you that. Like, you just walk in and become a millionaire. It is a medical state in the South with Governor Tate Reeves. You may have to put up this dispensary and then go sideways for 3-5 years. You might lose your shirt. And then he's like, what? I'm like, well, what do you mean by the $60,000 quote? I'm like, okay, let me tell you about Illinois. 700-800 pages. I'm gonna have to charge you for that. Well, why? Because it takes forever to write that. Have you ever go write me 700 pages?
Exactly.
You have 5 weeks.
Yeah.
That is cannabis applications in competitive states. And so like West Orange, New Jersey's was redonkulous. It was like, we need 200 pages by next Friday. And you're just like, what the hell is this? And so if you don't already have your app already written before it even goes, you're screwed. And so like this industry can be, people think because they maybe sold weed in college and it was very easy, or they grew weed in college because it was very easy. And you've just omitted all the regulations, all the safety, all the competitiveness, no LLC, you're a sole proprietor, and nobody saw nothing. And then, you're not opening a retail location or a corn farm. You're opening, it's a whole business, but it's a highly regulated whole business. You're opening a bank, you're opening a casino. Most people don't get it. They're just like, wait a minute. In my head, where I was spending the money and I had my dream job already, it was going to look like this. And I'm like, let's try to keep as much of that dream as we can. But do you really want to open this business?
Yep. Exactly that. And I love that sentiment of keep as much of the dream as we can. I love that. I've said that before. It's like with the leaf sheets piece, obviously with I can hold people's hands, and leaf sheets doesn't work like that. But I just think, okay, if we can simplify as much of this and reduce the tripwires that they will inevitably face as much as possible, then this at least stays as fun as possible. As much as you can keep it still cool. So I can try to keep it cool.
But with your chemical business, you're actually actively involved because this
Mhm.
industry is something that's constantly changing, like every other day, depending on what state you are, depending on
All
the
the
year, whatever law, whatever Republican gets a hair up their ass that week. But the
Yeah.
thing is, my question to you, and I just kind of almost spaced out. Oh shit! There we go. Good time.
Aw.
Well,
Everything cracked. Oh
I'm
well. Once again, this
how
is brought
fun was that?
to you by Collateral Base. Don't forget to go over to collateralbase.com and make sure that your business gets better.
I went full cheesy. I'm drinking this shit called Dank Dust.
Oh,
Thank the Elysium
Elysian.
Brewery.
Dank
Is that how they pronounce it? How is that actually
Yeah,
pronounced?
Elysium. But look, he's got smoke coming out of the little hop.
That's so cute.
No, that is a Seattle brewery. I mean, I remember
Okay.
when I was there and I saw that, and they have some very powerful. It's wicked strong. I mean, it just puts you on your ass beer, but good stuff.
So is the weed.
Weed's great. Yeah. Seattle is a wonderful place for weed. I've never tried in Las Vegas. I got to go to Vegas this year for some trade show and get like a booth. And everybody that comes up, I'm gonna be like, $4,000. What do you think? I paid $4,000 for this booth. Yeah, I got a lot of things. You know, YouTube channel. Oh, he does too, huh? Great.
Your podcast? Hey, two white guys.
Oh yeah,
podcast.
they do too. Wow, everybody's got a podcast. This is really cool. Yeah.
But this business is so crazy though. I think have you guys seen Ladybuds and Stars yet? So
What
it's
is it?
really Ladybuds. It's a documentary that follows several women that are business owners in the cannabis space, mostly in Southern California. But it answers a lot of the paperwork questions, right? Like a lot of these mom and pops are losing because business people understand the paperwork side of things. They understand how to fill things out. One of the women was talking about how these new, like the MSOs, they're like, what's the word when you have a bunch of money that like MedMen, they never died. They should have died. Like,
oh yeah.
In a real business aspect where I have to go give you $10 and you better have spent $3 to make that product. That don't exist when you have like Amazon that's willing to go red for like 10 years and then finally should turn a profit. Like, I think that's the unfair advantage that most of these big guys have that you guys kind of help out with. It's like, hey, you give me an idea of how to get in. So I imagine with your spreadsheets, that's kind of like helps you fill out the paperwork.
Yeah.
But then I know spreadsheets, it's
lead sheets. It's fine. It is what it is.
Well, for me, it's flow charts, right? Like, because I work in tech, so I need little like diagrams. Like I need square, triangle, circle.
A lot of macros. So data goes into an array and is populated in another document. I love it. Use it all the time. I can't wait till there's going to be so many more automations in my future. Hopefully 10 more years from now, not even me doing the show. Just looks like me. I'm on a beach somewhere.
Wow.
It's just running the company.
AI. Just AI.
So much better though.
Yeah, right.
It is. You do that one with a Jasper. It scares the hell out of me.
Yeah,
decent articles.
We have, the article. No, the. Okay, so even the description on this YouTube was written by a robot.
Okay, great. Yeah.
And then so like the articles that we do very often, the robots start them and then humans finish them off, so they're not completely off. But it's SEO, and so like, why are we going to waste time?
Yeah, no, totally. I hear you. I love my like copy AI, Jarvis.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. He use it too. Here you go.
Jasper, I guess there now.
Jasper, yeah. I mean, whatever it is.
Whatever it's called.
I don't use it. He uses it. So like, I work on tech. So like, I'm not worried about our robot overlords when they take over now. I mean, like I was getting scared for a little bit, but they need someone to fix them eventually. So
they do.
Stay valuable.
That's it.
But that's it. Like, don't be one of those ones that are like, this one's a net negative. Yeah. And I did want to give a shout out to somebody who threw us $1.50.
Yeah, I saw that.
You see that?
California.
Hi.
How do I show that?
There it is. I got it. Wait, did I do it? Never mind. I got this too bad. There we go. You got it.
Yeah. Hero to Cart UT.
Thank you, bro.
Sweet man. Thanks for the $1.50.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For
If
their
you have any questions, let us know.
Well, you know what's weird though? Like Tom and I have been doing this discussion for 3 years now, and there's all these channels on YouTube because I've been a geek forever, and like YouTube I've been following, like Phil DeFranco, he's a bigger name. Like there's legit people making 6-7 figures. YouTube, Twitch, all these stream thingies. Because we do cannabis, because we had a little boost every once in a while when the law is a topical, but unless it's hard to get the spread and the information out there.
Right.
It really is. And sometimes you feel like you're the wrong one because the internet says you are. Because,
you're like, oh.
I just shared a meme with a guy smoking and now I'm banned for a fucking week. I mean, whatever it is.
Yeah. I feel that.
How do you go about marketing the business then? Because this industry, it's one of my lead challenges is how do I go about marketing the business without spending $4,000 for a booth at a trade show and being like, $4,000. Yeah, I'm going to be speaking at booth 15. How to juggle. Why it's important for your cannabis business. That's the name of my talk.
Oh, why it's important. So marketing is such an interesting one because, stuff does get shut down. I've had so many things just like, oh, your account's gone now. Okay, cool. I've come to two kind of conclusions on the most valuable of marketing, which is content, as you were talking about, content, and then just PR. I love PR. I love doing coming hanging out with you guys, talking with you, doing speaking engagements, stuff like that. Just PR is the best because there's no one to shut you down. They put you there. So that's really
they'd be shutting them down.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's what I found most valuable. And we'll go that same route with leaf sheets too. And then hopefully you can find some because it's more of a consumer product. We definitely have to more mass market it than, let's say, I've had to do with can. So we're figuring that out for sure.
Well, you're also trying to find with leaf sheets, probably with can too, someone with money interested in cannabis business, period. Tom, when we did this, he's been SEO savvy, internet savvy. I know him from MySpace, I've been doing the activist sign
from MySpace.
It is. And also the reason why I fuck with him is because he spoke up before he even used his name. So he spoke up as another guy, Home Rogue. And I thought I knew two white guys. Turns out it was one white guy.
These white guys that are in the middle of nowhere in Illinois. Yeah.
You're like, I know two of them.
This guy looks just like you. I don't know how
That's incredible.
But it was MySpace. It was just like a weird time where a lot of interaction.
And then the law firm that hired me in 2011 was like, you made a lot more money writing that brief than you did selling any of them books, didn't you? Yes. Don't promote it no more. And then 5 years later, you know what we need at this firm? Cannabis practice group. I'm like, flip the desk over like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Yeah.
You're like, welcome to the party, guys. I've been saying
that's why my first clients were financial institutions. I'm like, here is how you comply with the FinCEN guidance. There's a cottage industry for it now of these compliance consultants. When I was trying that shit back in 15, the nice rural farm bankers, the community banks of downstate Illinois said, thank you. And then I invoiced them. They paid their invoice. They never did anything.
Never did anything with it.
Well, there's no industry in it because we have 4 players. I mean, there was 22 licenses. There's maybe 40 different licensed entities in the state. And then there's another 40 craft grows and 50 infusers that are just scrambling to get open. And then if they get open, they have to sell to the same 110 dispensaries that have already been there. They're mostly owned by other businesses. So how do they even get shelf space? And then the other 185 dispensaries are in litigation that might not be over for another year.
Forever. Yeah. They've been in litigation forever.
Yeah. It's the worst state ever. And so I'm like, man, maybe I should move to Las Cruces. You could actually get into business there,
Well, water rights still, though, man. New Mexico is always,
water rights. Yeah.
There's different barriers no matter what we do.
No matter where,
Yeah. And with your business degree, I'd imagine you're probably going to be, as this gets more and more on, you're coming from a great insight because you're young enough where you didn't have to do the fight. You just happen to get a job. And now you're like, I see an opportunity with a degree, which is a great degree in business, which I wish more people would need to understand is there's opportunities out there. It's just not always farming. It's not always growing. There's a lot of things lateral, but then again, there's also the stigma, right? I don't even touch the plant. I don't even work with it or nothing, but a lot of people know who I am, which is weird because I just helped a lot of people, right? There's, still a hard part of the country that it's all fucked up. But we're gonna get there. I hope so. I think as
It'll get
people.
there.
Well, as people though, right? As citizens, as whatever, we want to have
old people.
No,
old
they'll die.
Old people of the people that were born in the 30s, outside of Tommy Chong and Willie Nelson. Those other ones. Those are the people that are most against it. And then the other thing is, it seems like they can't agree on how to do it, and so they both want to do it, but not like that. And then you're like, oh my God, can we at least please just let everybody who's in prison out? While we sort out this important crap, can we at least let those people out? Yeah.
Like, number one, let's do that. Just across the board. Easy.
Easy.
1000%.
But it's like the great, I want to say like human atrocity, but like it's up there, right? With like something very bad to say as far as like Holocaust shit. Like this is American version of it. But with our own citizens, like how many times could the cure for cancer have been found, or any of this other shit? And cops, fighting. We're so fucked up.
Oh, totally.
But anyways, that's the thing about cannabis, right? It's like you go down this rabbit hole of fucked up shit, even though like you're having like great life. Like Tom's been a hemp fest out here. I'm sad for a lot of people in Kentucky, right? I go to the store, I bought still my integrity weed. I still got that. I went to the store, didn't get arrested, didn't get fucked with, never cared, never had a paranoia. But I remember that first walk into a store thinking, okay, am I being surveillance right now because the cops are watching, right? Like you have that weird conspiracy shit, and prohibition enables that stuff, right? We're so fucked up because of prohibition, not just like our health wise, but psychologically. We
scared.
Seriously.
Everyone's scared, like, and I feel like it's definitely overhyped. Like the extent to which cannabis has made such a like, oh my gosh, it's so funny, especially once you're in the industry and it's so normal in our everyday lives, and you really start to realize this really is just a plant. The fact that it's a great plant, but the fact that it's such a big deal and it's like so concerning is bizarre.
You just feel that I look at the data about vaccine numbers for a particular thing that's out there that's trigger words that I don't like to say on the air. And it turns out that about 3 out of 4 people have gotten that. And then that means that 25%, 1 in 4 people out there will just not accept anything and will just do whatever they want. And as a result of that, you already have like 25% of us that are living in wherever reality they want to put themselves. And so that puts you at an immediate disadvantage. And that's before YouTube algorithms or other algorithms are out there to actively suppress the change of the law. And so as they're out there actively suppressing the change of the law, they aren't doing this for like trans kids. And so like if they would have, can you imagine if they had an algorithm to suppress if somebody was posting about bathrooms, 4 or 5 years ago? That would have probably prevented a lot of those rights from being acquired by those people because they could organize online. And so we are talking about not breaking the law, complying with laws, which are very difficult to comply with. And then not only are they difficult to comply with, the people who want to get these licenses are basically in the dark. And so you can't even get information out to them. That's
madness.
Why it's illegal,
Yeah. It's madness.
And then when you get flagged or deleted, who do you go to? There's no one to fucking answer, right?
People seem to go to LinkedIn. They're like, on LinkedIn, I've been shut down. What do I do?
But that's the hard part too, because we're professionals, but also at the same time, it's a younger thing, right? It's a fun thing. And so you go to LinkedIn because supposedly all the grownups are there. But then at the same time, you're like, my Instagram account, like the thing that I'm just sharing pictures of funness and positive vibes or whatever fuck, right? So crazy, man.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
That's one of the things, like, my account, you log into it. Ads have been disabled from this account. You're like, no shit. Ads have been disabled for me on that platform for a decade. It's and as a result, like trying to get into one of these businesses, you have to realize that this isn't going to be like, well, I'll just buy some ads. No, you won't.
No,
to buy ads.
Seriously,
you'll be lucky if you can get away with selling tickets. You might have to go through a few payment providers.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why what I find super interesting helping people do, but interestingly also is educating them on how important brand building is and how important differentiation is and all of these very simple businessy things that for whatever reason, I find a lot of people in cannabis will act like we're recreating business, like that we were inventing things.
Yeah.
So these kind of basic practices of, oh, let's create a real brand with an identity and a voice and a presence and it's like
What
the
are your
whole
first
thing.
principles? Like I sell weed.
Yeah,
Can we work on that?
exactly.
Yeah.
How are you different? It's really good. It's the best. We definitely have the best grower. okay.
But Juliana, I think you hit upon a great point. Is like cannabis is such a unique industry where you almost have to be a persona or a thing entwined with your product, right? Like Jack Harrer, right? Like you have to be someone that's sacrificed, and then perhaps maybe then the general public will give you some love and say, okay, this guy gives a fuck or whatever, girl, but
right.
It's so weird how but now here in like say Washington State, we have one of our top brands, we're legacy medical farmers, and so like Trailblazing, Washington Bud Company, these are people who saw like, okay, we're going to separate ourselves from our product and just give you good product at the same time, because in the medical scene you see a lot of dumb shit like that where people think there's a lot of entitlement, like oh, I spend my time fighting for you. Tom's the one that pulled me out here. And I've helped a lot of people, and I try not to, I guess, that's my flex or whatever the hell, I've done my time.
Yeah.
I'm still doing it, and I just want you to do it too. And so I think like your perception though that these companies have to like, how are they going to change perception? How are these new companies how are they going to help? Because I see a lot of people like joining like the Lost Prisoner Project or donating to the Minority Cannabis. How can they stand out and be like, I'm your company, I'm your dude,
right? I'm the product you should go with.
Yeah.
Well, one, I would just say like product and marketing development, just like if you look at it as a product like any other business, there's psychology to marketing and there's psychology to building a customer base, and that I believe will work with this product too. But really it takes an investment and intention to do that. And I would love for companies to keep giving, everyone is kind of donating to organizations like you said, but through corporate social responsibility planning and ESG and stuff, you can also then use that in your marketing and what your brand personality is and what you stand for. So let's say you don't have a history of being an activist, but you can make the brand itself stand for something like whatever, really choose anything, then that can be a powerhouse for building your customer base. But it's just a matter of being good at doing that. And it is a skill. And I think a lot of people are, they'll put out we donated to this and think that's the magic of the CSR, and it's like, no, it's a whole strategy. It's like a whole long-term like implementation, and it works. Totally. And it'll work.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
What's the CSR, Miggy? Or Juliana?
Oh, Juliana.
CSR?
CSR, yeah.
Corporate social responsibility.
There we go.
Yeah.
Or as they call it outside on the coast.
Nice.
Hippie shit.
So we got smart people. But like I see what you're saying. So like if they were to like say, okay, we're the best for your health wise, I would hope, and see, this is the thing about the plant, right? Like here with regulation, it kind of stupid. When people talk about regulation, they don't know what they're talking about most of the time. But in Washington State, one of the first states to legalize it, we still don't test our medical and recreational cannabis the same. And like in the end, it should be equal because it's a human consumption product.
Yeah.
And I think people forget, like, you can really grow good weed, and just how to do it is the big question. And for that flex of wellness, for that promotion, because you see a lot of people cutting corners when it comes to flushing or pesticides or whatnot. But I think wellness is definitely the number one way most of these companies could sell themselves, but they got to give good weed at a good price,
Yes. Sorry, I have to plug.
You're good.
Listen.
We can hear you, so you're good.
I was like, bye.
Dying over there. It's batteries.
I think what's interesting is like wellness. If there's a lot of things in cannabis that I think the culture of cannabis cares about, which would include wellness, that the general population, I believe it may be difficult to get them to care about. A lot of cannabis products will try to sell on these things that matter to the culture, to the usual cannabis consumer. And to try and sell like the average American on caring about their health is an uphill battle that has been going on for so long.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I don't know. It's interesting because there's things that are valuable, but then it's like, do customers care that that's a valuable, cool thing? You know?
Well, let's talk about what customers that Americans want. Clearly, wellness, not so much. ESG, customer, what is it? Corporate social responsibility.
Yeah.
That's really like signaling you don't have any money when you have a lot of money. That's what I think.
Yeah.
And then, so what does the average American want? I'm assuming a good time.
Yeah, they want to feel good.
A good deal. Like, it's like, man, did I not have to pay full price for that? And then chips.
Yeah.
Chips.
Yeah.
I think just, you want like to feel good, to feel like you belong. Do you know Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Yes.
I'm familiar with it. I'm still on like the very base one. I've provided shelter, and now I'm working on to food. Eventually, I hope to get security.
You're like, one day autonomy, then one day transcendence, maybe.
For real though.
I keep my nose down. Yeah.
Yeah, I love to apply Maslow's hierarchy of needs to business from the consumer side, and then also from the operator side, especially retailers, as since you're consumer facing. So in creating for your employees, if you can get them to a point where they feel taken care of, and then they feel autonomous, they feel a sense of belonging on the team, all these things. And if you can create that for your customer kind of as well, and if you can do that, I think through your actual customer experience, it's absolutely attainable at any retailer to create that kind of business environment. And then probably through your products too. Once you build a cool brand, for that to make people feel like they belong and like participating, being a customer of this brand means something, says something about who I am, says something about what I stand for. I think Americans want that. They want to feel cool. And if you look at it, like the most powerful forces of kind of change or impact right now are just large groups of people who all believe in a similar thing and care that they believe in that. And they're just like, this is my thing. This is my jam,
For real though, I get you.
You mean I've been censored by the internet? Oh my gosh, how are we supposed to get this jam out there?
Yeah.
And it's going to take years of regulatory. Oh, crap.
Yeah.
But only I was into wellness.
I got the
If only I cared about my health.
Shit. But no, the most American thing I think I see in the future for cannabis is going to be when it's all legal. You're going to have shitty weed that's like made with like Eagle 22 and all the other shitty shit that people don't like. That's not medicine. And it's going to be like weed. It's better than cheeseburgers. I mean, that's going to be the fucking future for Americans when it comes to wellness. It's like you're going to have shitty weed compared to
be like, it's better than the worst alternative.
Like, exactly.
Like better than that.
It's better than McDonald's. I mean, it's like
but have you driven by a McDonald's lately? They usually have a line, which is saying something about the product. If you can, and that's one of the nice things. If you're running a business and there's a line, you've done something right, unless that line is for returns or complaints. Then you got to work on that if that's where that line is. But if it's like customers in the door, good work. Yeah, man, I don't know. I'm really kind of dismayed that like the more you try to like get the message out there, it's just like, if you ever watched Ocean's 11 or something where they're trying to get the jewels and all those lasers are everywhere and they have to, that's kind of how it is. You're like, man, how difficult is it to get this thing done? And it seems like it should be so easy. I mean, you look at it and you go like, you mean you guys are too stupid to like fix this? Really? And then, and it's kind of it, You're
like, what is happening here? What's going on?
So let me get this straight. 85 years ago, some racist motherfuckers changed the word so that like nobody would see it. And they just started arresting people. And then it got thrown out in 69, but hippies and Nixon. And so then you studied it, you ignored that study, and it's still there. Like that was 52 years ago. What?
Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah.
One of the crazy, I talk to people about this a lot, is that when you're looking at something, you're analyzing it, you understand it, and it's suddenly like, wow, this is really simple, and it's being treated like it's wildly complex, you know?
Right.
But then it's a matter of, well, you believe then, oh, this is logical, right? This is logical. The answer is logical, the way to approach it. And I always think that we can kind of overestimate the extent to which a lot of people care about logic. They're not sold on it. It's not what they care about. They're like, I don't care if it's logical or not. I need a better answer here. Like,
Yeah.
what?
I don't care what my lying eyes saw when you showed me the truth. I don't believe it. You know?
I don't believe it.
But also part of the problem is like the tech has exceeded the law, right? Like the world progression. We're still stuck in this 1930 fucked up law that, how long did it take for segregation to end? Was it like 20, 30 years there before? Yeah. So, now we got this simple plant that's just like part of that segregation bullshit. So it's like, when are we going to do this? When are we going to catch up? Like we can fly. I can literally talk to you from anywhere in the world. We can schedule a time and get your message out. And I can do things on the internet with just that message, but yet we're still stuck in this bullshit law.
We're all duped into thinking we're wildly progressive with all our cool gadgets, and yet we can't make very simple, basic, logical decisions that would benefit society.
But again, you said America's still not sold on this whole wellness thing, and so as a result, like a lot more people are out there just living it up, and just like, hey, have you had a day? Yes, I have had a day. Would you like to relax? Fucking right. It's a beer.
That's the sell to go. Yeah, that's the way to go with it.
It's fucked up. Like on YouTube, like I have to be like, oh look, my mic is always smoking. I don't know what's going on with it. It's on fire. But hey, cheers everybody for a beer. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta cover one, match the other, but blah. So dumb.
Yeah.
Waste of time.
And it's all messaging though too. Like what's genius about it, right? Because imagine, I've never been productive and drunk at the same time, but no one gives alcohol that messaging. And for some reason, it's such this big messaging of like, if you smoke cannabis, you're unproductive and lazy. When it's like, okay, but also if you consume alcohol or if you XYZ, but the messaging, our messaging we got to fix our messaging. We've got the rhetoric,
And then we fix our messaging. We try to put it out there, and then it's like, I'm sorry, your message was deleted from your Instagram post.
On deaf ears.
Yeah. But that's on our Facebook page. That's why I do dumb memes. Like like today myself, I did a shit ton of laundry and smoked a lot of weed. Like that's what cannabis makes me do.
That's great.
It's wild shit.
What a day. That's a great day.
Just wild.
You're like just crazy things. Like I get things
done. My folder, I folded all my laundry. It's all nice and neatly tucked away in the drawer. Smoke the whole blunt.
You're like, and I'm chilling. So it's very, very radical, rebellious stuff going on. Very scary.
Yeah,
very scary.
But then the other thing, I think, what's really going to be the hammer in the coffin on prohibition, more money in the East Coast and more licenses. Hopefully, it's a lot of licenses, like in Oklahoma or something, where you just have tons of them, because then you have tons of people bitching to the people to change the rules.
Yeah,
and that actually does start to work. But it's going to have to be the acceptance, and then how do you get that message out and have enough people change their mind?
Right. How do you do that? Yeah. Change the algorithm, get different other people talking. Because I've heard, I've had a lot of people go, oh man, when dispensaries were coming to our state, we thought it was going to be madness. And actually there's been no change and everything's totally fine. But it's like those people aren't out there telling other people like them that. So other people like them are only hearing from people that they don't relate to. I'm like, if you could hear from people you relate to that are also saying, no, this is good, this is cool, that would be good too, Mm-hmm. And then I don't know how that ever changes an algorithm. That's on you, Tom.
Well, it's not. There's so many people that work at like a handful of companies that have figured out how to dial it down because they're worried that, well, what if the DEA inculcates them for conspiracy?
Okay.
It's a federal law, and so to a certain extent, we've been discussing, and even shout out to Tony Gallo. He kind of said in some states they work, in other states templates don't work, and we had discussed earlier with Juliana that you're right. Templates they can save you time. They aren't going to get you over the finish line.
Yeah.
But it's.
But then that's where Juliana's second business catches in, which is what's the second thing you do?
CannStrategy.
Yeah, so they get their foot in the door, and then you're helping them with their actual business program, because that's actually what your degree's in, is the business part of things.
Business. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So CannStrategy is, we get people over the finish line for sure, but Leaf Sheets is really for people who really can't afford to pay us to do that, someone else. It's like, if you have I guess I believe in that people are relatively intelligent, and I also believe this stuff isn't as complex as it seems. If I can figure out a way that we can basically simplify it, explain it, like, okay, here, if you have to do this on your own, I want to at least advantage you as far as possible through this product, so you have the best chance possible. Is it identical to paying Tom, me, anybody?
Oh, no. Can Advisors, the cool 6 figures? No, of course not.
No.
But that's the other thing. Because when you're getting into this industry, like, you can talk about budgets right off the bat, because most people that are coming into it, they aren't familiar with how much it costs.
Not at all.
And so, like, 90% of the time, you're going to be doing some education, and you have to do it kind of nicely, because you don't want to be like, okay, well, you're about $400,000 or $500,000 short, but I know some guys. Let's structure something and see if you can actually get this asset. You clearly have to know somebody who's an entrepreneur, somebody who's a real estate guy. Come on.
Yeah.
And then you work
someone
with
who's an architect. Yeah, exactly. Build it out. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs too that are applying and have investors. So it's like, so many investors will go, get the license and I will give you all this money, but I'm not paying all this money for you to get the license. And so they wind up in this interesting spot. And that's kind of, where I'm hoping with those people, Leaf Sheets can really help, because then it's not like they have no money and won't have money and could never start the business. It's like, no, they have people who will give them money. They just have to get this part of it done.
Well, would you say Leaf Sheets is what you use for when you get started with a new client? Like, your foundation of reference, like, hey,
similarly, kind of the foundational information, and then it's altered per there. Exactly. But that part they have to do. And then the only other part you're missing that, consultants and lawyers too have so much to do with is the just step-by-step advising. Like, what do I do in this, this happened, that's outside of the documents. It's just, the environment of the operation.
But I mean, when you get started with a new client for your cannabis,
CannStrategy.
CannStrategy. Are you going, let me just go back to my little leaf sheet and okay, there we go. I'm good to go.
2 leaf sheets. Not 2 actual leaf sheets, but it's similar.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it'd be since you're actively doing it and that's your reference point, might as well.
1,000%.
Yeah.
And the content in there is content that has one end state. So it's not like I totally boiled it down, so you're like way behind, It is like quality stuff that has been utilized at points.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you utilize it. So that's, so
it works as long as you, but there is the thing. It's like, yes, this is hard. Also, I do think if you can kind of put in the brain work and you're given the correct information, that there's a chance. There's guys I know who kind of had to go that route. Let's say Ohio, where it's a lottery. So if you only have to get 85% of the way there, only achieve to this end. If people were trying to compete against us in Vegas in 2018, rough, because it's 100% merit, which is,
and then everybody sued. Huge. And so, like, it was Illinois. Like, Illinois was watching Vegas and go, I like what you're doing. I'm going to copy it.
Exactly.
But I'm going to put social equity in to make it even more, screwed up.
Really mess it up. Really mess it up. Yeah. And so what's cool with Leaf Sheets that makes me hopeful for it is that states are starting to be less limited, because I kept being like, it seems like you each really want to get sued. You keep watching the last one that got sued. for and I'm sure Ohio, they got sued. They learned, they took that part out. They were like, nope, screw that.
Oh no, this most recent Ohio lottery, we had a client that was in it too. And then to put that together was simpler than the previous Ohio stuff. But it was still, the trick in it was you had to be rich. And so like if you weren't rich and a landowner, it became like, well, sorry, buddy.
Oh yeah. Or just, I think for 2 weeks, I felt like I was a real estate agent. I was on Crexy, like searching townships, and I found all these properties, and all I thought was, if someone had never done this and they would never figure out how to do this. Like, only because I've been in this do I know what to do right now, but how would you ever figure out how to do it,
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm
that
hoping
was the secret in Ohio. Real estate.
Whew.
It may be the secret. It's a secret very often. And then it's going to be interesting in Illinois. Shit, Illinois may never work. I don't know what's going to happen there, but they're trying to do a fixed lottery next time, and as opposed to like, rigged. I mean, like corrected, so you can't rig it. We'll see. But
oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those oh my gosh moments where you just got to throw up your hands and go, all right, well, I'm going to crowdsource this one. I advise, and so that's what you could do. You could. And if you were the rich person, like the Zeiss family from Dispensary 33, you would hang out. Oh, gosh, I forgot. Rich people like them, go on over to cannabisindustrylawyer.com and then hire me. And then I will tell you exactly how I can get you the maximum number of lotteries and victories. I keep telling people how to like rig things, and then they do it. And I'm like, next time I'm going to be like, I know how to do it. Call me. Yeah.
That's common sense though. What you did with that bullshit, buy more tickets than anybody else. I mean, that's like lottery shit. Like, yeah, the more tickets, Willy Wonka tickets I get, the better chances I got. But what you guys are offering though are actual like expertise. People who've been in the business, like Tom. Like I said, he was using a pseudonym long ago, and then you got yourself in as a bud tender, which I think is great. So not bud tender, I'm sorry, but
I was basically a bud tender. I was like front desk, then I was security. I was running around. I was every position. We were seeing 5 people a day. It was real crazy at the beginning.
5 people.
When we first opened, it was 5 people a day. We would be doing like lunches. Medical? Yeah. Medical.
Okay, so again, if you're watching from Mississippi and you believe that you will have generational wealth within the next 12 to 24 months, please let's talk about this one more time. You were working in a medical marijuana dispensary in Nevada. Many years ago?
Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas, Nevada.
5 years.
Damn.
7 years
5
ago.
years ago. 7 years ago, when medical cannabis was new out there and there weren't very many operators. And how many clients did you have in a day?
We had 5. We started with 5 a day.
Okay, great. And so I just trying to remind people, and I'll just cut this and be like, no, I'm going to send that to all these people from Mississippi that keep calling, and then people keep promising them that they're going to be rich, and that's the consultant game to a certain extent. We find out what you want. I'll be $65,000, and if you win, another $50,000, and then they get you to sign that, and then you find out that not only have you won, but you've won this huge problem because now you have to build $1 million dispensary and get that done. And then there's a lawsuit, and then you're delayed from opening. And then you finally open, and then no doctors have written script number 1. So you have 5 people who come in, and you're like, how much money have we spent? $1.8 million. How much money have we made? $800.
$280.
God damn. I got a $10 tip. Damn.
It's crazy. A lot of the people in Vegas that got in at the very beginning, now the way they're basically going to be making their money is I'm helping them find people to buy them out of the business. They're all like, get me out.
Just break even.
If you got some spreadsheets, send them over here, and then I'll run them up the flagpole, and then we'll see. But then that's really it. I can't get into Illinois cannabis, and there's still no Illinois cannabis that's really there. But the way they've rigged or set this up, I don't mean that they've tried to do this on purpose. It looks like there's going to be a lot of distressed assets, and then it looks like not only there's going to be a lot of distressed assets, they're going to open the state up, and then it might be more along the lines of an Oklahoma, because the social equity aspect of it, or like a New Mexico, When you try to limit the license numbers like this, you screw with supply and demand and market economics.
Yeah.
And then you allow for these types of lawsuits.
Yeah, it's just totally, there's so many other ways to increase barriers to entry other than actually limiting the number of businesses. Like,
Right.
what? That's crazy, man.
Well, it's not American. It's not fair. Capitalism and all that crap. It's not equal.
Freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to let people compete. I find it so funny. Even I would be embarrassed. I say I had $1 billion and I was a big MSO, right? I would be embarrassed to be lobbying to limit licenses. I think that would seem like I don't know what I'm doing and I don't think I can compete in business. If you're good at what you're doing, who cares how many? That's the way business works. It's the way competition works. Your competitors die off, you know?
Right. Right.
If you're good at it, then just do it.
Have you heard of this thing called America?
Yeah, exactly.
Where you're allowed to be free and go into business doing whatever you want. Even murder, not that. No.
But that's what Elysian did. So like these guys was a Seattle, it still is a Seattle brewery, but Anheuser-Busch bought them. So it's like
up and out.
Yeah.
You're allowed to do cool things, and if other people are doing those things too, you just compete and try and win, and that's the fun of business. That's a lot of the fun of it.
Yeah. And if you do it good enough, you're a winner. Like that's how that works.
Like how fun. Game well played, you know?
And if you don't do it fucking again, or be one of those dumbasses
you
that tries
$1 million lesson.
Yeah.
Good on
exactly.
You know?
Oh my goodness.
For sure.
$1 million lessons are learned in this industry all the time.
Yeah. All the time. At least $1 million. Then you're on the light side. It's the light side of lessons.
Well, I'm doing the average. I'm throwing Oklahoma in there, you know, and then like you want to bootstrap an industry, you can go to certain areas in this United States and try to bootstrap into this industry, and God bless you if you want to try it. Because most people who do that, they don't come out of it. But then, you know, most people also never raise $9 million. And it's an interesting industry where you kind of need that $9 million. You don't know what's going to happen, you know? But it's fun. I mean, I do enjoy the intellectual aspect of it. And so like my kind of thing is, I'll be the company's first employee, like your general counsel. I'll help you set up the company, put together the application, you know, show you what you need to do. It's real easy. And then they kind of like that. But then you get busy, you're working. It's fun.
Do you stick around like as general counsel over time?
It depends. Like it depends on how much they need. And so if they grow, they're going to need a lot of local counsel or general counsel support. But then like it's startups. And so like right now in Illinois, no. I mean, like, what are they doing? They don't need a general counsel. They need a priest, you know? But then in like a New Jersey, then it'd be like an evolution, because then they get their conditional and now they need to get into the next thing and the next step. Or in New Mexico, same thing. They need to get, and then this issue comes up and then that issue comes up. You know, and then in Ohio, that lottery, you know, they still haven't made that official. That lottery was Thanksgiving
months ago.
Know?
Yeah.
Right. So
they're still doing all the review and stuff.
Right. And that's over time, yes. But then like the industry just takes so long to launch, and sometimes it fails to launch. And that's an impediment, you know? Yeah.
Well, thank goodness for all the super wealthy business people out there that we exist for them, you know?
The ones that just dump money anywhere.
We're doing the good work.
Those people exist. There are family offices.
True.
$25 million investment request minimum.
Well, and again, even if I had, say, 10 friends and family that I want to like get together and give me, you know, you can start with friends and family and LLC and do that investment type group shit. Like definitely there's always opportunities out there. So, but like Juliana, where can people find you and stuff? Like what do you got going on? Anything else in the future coming up? Or
I always have everything in the future coming up. I'll be at G4 Live. I'll be speaking at G4 Live.
Oh, right on. Now that's Oklahoma?
It's in Vegas.
Okay.
Mandalay Bay. And then they can find me on LinkedIn, Juliana Whitney. I love LinkedIn, big fan. And then on leafsheets.com and at CannStrategy.com.
Right on. Yeah, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go mow the lawn. So
Great.
Hey,
That's-
me too. I was in the middle of mowing the lawn before this podcast. You never know. It's just high-level cannabis policy discussion and business between lawn mowing. Yeah.
You guys are great. I went to brunch, so I'm living a little different life at the
No,
moment.
you're perfect. But before I have any more of these, I really should get it done.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the one thing about the Elysians. They don't mess around.
No.
But yeah, I wanted to thank everybody for tuning in, especially our
Thank
members. If you guys become a member, we update our credits on a monthly basis. And thank you so much, Juliana, for hanging out with us.
Thank
Yay.
you. This is so fun. You guys are awesome.
See you
Take
guys.
the likes. Wait. Oh yeah,
All right. And another one.
it was a good one. That's fun.
It was good. It was a little fun, you know. I like when we get into the business to help educate.
I told you we need porno music for that part. Brown chicka brown cow.
Okay, well, I will make sure that Jimmy McGriff plays next.